All right.
Hello.
Hello, how you all doing? Great to meet you here on this lovely Friday. I hope you're all in your comfortable chairs. We're going to have a really fun time today. Maybe you've read a little bit about my background, or maybe you looked me up on the web already, but if not, I'm a comic book cartoonist. I write and draw my own comics. I'm currently embarking on a journey with architecture, but I've drawn comic books about my love of bicycles, my bike, to my love of UFOs, and a lot of different things of my interest. And what I'd like to take you guys on a journey of today is doing two-point perspective and drawing basically a house, because we are at the Chuck Jones Center and we're doing the In Your House program. So I kind of want to just go off of that while I introduce myself. So all you'll need today is a piece of paper. I have a 9x12. It's nice. It's a little bit larger than your typical print paper. And you'll need a pencil and an eraser as well. And lastly, a ruler. So
If you don't have a ruler, can you use anything that has a straight edge, a very straight edge?
yeah, I recommend hard cardboard if you can find it.
Because I got a straight edge of an envelope over here.
Oh, okay, Layla.
Laya.
Laya. Oh, I'm sorry. I read it quickly. Pleasure, Laya. Nice to meet you. And that'll be perfectly fine. You can totally use that. Yep.
Because I just came in and I forgot to bring a ruler. It was a split second, and and this is all I could find.
No problem. No problem. We have to use the materials we find, and the best ones are usually quite accessible, thank God. So here they are, right? Let's do this. I'm going to change my camera. I'm going to shoot it down to my drawing. Okay. So we're going to hold our paper horizontally. And what I want you to do with your ruler is you're going to basically place that right in the middle of your page. And you want to be perfectly parallel to the top of the line of your page, because this is your gauge of what is a straight horizontal, right? And this is your gauge of what is a straight vertical line. So we're going to put a straight horizontal line, and you don't have to go edge to edge. You can kind of come off of the edge a little bit there, and you can stop just before the edge starts again. So right in the middle of the paper. I'm a little bit maybe even higher, that's okay. But what you guys might know already is this is the horizon line. Do any of you know what the horizon line is? Well, the horizon line separates. Yeah.
It's the horizon line separates the sky and the land.
You got it. You
Or
got it.
it separates the land and the sea. One of those.
Beautifully said. Yes. And so when you compose,
I have a question.
sure,
So, is this good for my horizon line?
it is great. It is great,
Okay,
Nathaniel.
because I was worried that it would be a little too high.
No, I think it's looking really good. It's looking really good.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. You know what's funny is that even with this line, guys, chances are we're going to erase a lot of it. So keep a light hold to your pencil when you approach this, okay? Because we are going to erase a lot when we get there. Now, two-point perspective involves 2 points on the horizon line. So I want you guys to place 2 points on the farthest ends of that line. And we're not looking to put it on the tippy edge of the paper. Just bring your point into that line a little bit if you did go to your edge of your paper. Okay. Now, one rule of thumb with doing 2-point perspective, guys, and you might even want to write this down. that your vertical lines are always vertical, okay? The only chances that those are going to change is if we bring in another point for perspective, which would be 3 points, or that we're doing a vertical line that's organic, like a tree, let's say. So here we go. I'm going to place my first vertical line. I'm going to hold my ruler vertically, and I'm going to stay again perfectly parallel to my line on my page, right? Now, am I going to put this dead in the middle? No, I'm actually going to favor a little bit to my side here, okay? So I've come in almost a third of that line, and here I go. Now I'm going to make a first line, and let's go equal on how much we have there on the top and how much we have there on the bottom. You can kind of see it looks like a sword or something right now, which is kind of cool. Now, what I need to consider is this is actually going to be the corner. It's going to be the highest corner that's even closest to us, because perspective is all about the sense of scale within the distance between you and the horizon, right? So the sense of scale shows us how close an object can be. So if we put our first vertical line here in 2-point perspective, this is going to be the closest corner of our house to us as the camera, right? So here I go. I'm going to place now, this is where the aspect of horizontal lines now get placed. I'm going to line them up to my points. I'm going to go so far. So I went from my point, my corner, to my point, and I'm only going so far to it. This is why it's 2-point perspective, because we're going to keep shooting our ruler at this point. But don't move ahead yet. Now, I might turn my page, guys. Just note that when I do, that I'm still working with my ruler completely parallel to my edge of my paper, right? It's just out of habit that I turn my paper, because us drawers, we get a little lazy and we have to move our paper around a little bit. But so if I have it on an axis, just know it's still straight, okay? But I'm going to try to keep it straight for you guys. You ready? I'm going to go on with the next line. I'm going to stay perfectly parallel to that current vertical line I just made. So here I go. And this one, I can anticipate it's going to be a little smaller, because again, we're going to have to do some erasing. But you can always anticipate this as it goes further in the distance, the vertical line, that it gets smaller towards this horizon. So my next move, I'm going to place my point at my point, and I'm going to come up like so. I'm going to actually kind of shoot to this corner. Now, I don't care if I have excess up here, because that's not going to matter. I'm still going to connect them, and I'm going to do some erasing as well. And here's my first side of my building, or our house that we're doing here. Don't mind the excess, right? You can always erase it. Whoops, sorry, bumped my camera there. Okay, now we got that one side, so 2-point perspective deals with 2 sides. So if I send now that corner to this point, and I'm going to make a nice extended line. Look at that. I didn't go all the way, but it's still going to the point. I just let up a little bit, because I think I know where I'm going to put my vertical line there next. It also helps to do both horizontal lines first sometimes. So if that's easier for you guys to align before you do your vertical line, that's up to you. But I'll do it both ways, just so we get kind of used to both. Here I go from my corner now of my first line, right? Our first vertical, our largest and closest to us.
I have a
Now,
question.
yes.
Have you ever drawn vertical lines in your work before? Have you ever did this before?
Oh yeah, you'd like to see a sample?
Yeah,
Sure.
I would.
Where's my? Believe it or not, this is in 2-point perspective, exactly what we're doing. Can you guys see that okay? And it's very detailed, but this is what they call a mid-century motel. This is a part of the 1970s, the very early 70s, but the movement came from the 1950s. So this got a little bit sophisticated in its styles. But
That's amazing.
This is also in the progress. So this is pencil underlay and ink overlay.
So it's a sketch.
This is the finished drawing, but the layout is the pencil. That's what they call the pencil, because I'm laying out all the objects in shapes and simplifying them so that when I go in with my pen, I can now influence those shapes and make them really detailed and nice and vivid.
I can see that in the hotel because it looks like what we're drawing right now.
Yeah, we're approaching absolutely a lot of what I do in this current work. That's why I also wanted to show you guys this, because I thought it would be fun.
Thank you.
Oh, of course, my pleasure. Okay, let's keep going, because we got a lot to do on this. So let's send that bottom line now. This is going to be where our house meets the ground. So you're going to hit that corner to the point, right? But I'm only going to go so far because I only want to go to where I went to before here. Okay? And keep those lines kind of light, guys. I'm drawing a lot darker than you are so that you can see it on my camera. But I would be drawing lighter than this. Again, I got to look at the parallel line of the vertical I've made to make my next one. So make your best assumption. If you have to look at this line to look at it and see it straight, or if you have to look at this line to see it and see it straight, it's up to you. But here we go. I'm going to connect it on the end. Now we're gonna extend out this part of the driveway. It's going to be basically the garage that we're going to have kind of protrude out. So this is going to be an L-shaped object or L-shaped house. So I'm going to hit to the point here now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my ruler a little bit higher up here. I'm going to put a first line in right off of the house. So I use that far end point. I'm bringing it pretty close to the end over here. What I have to start to consider is my sense of scale. So that takes a little time just to kind of develop in your mindset to really see it for going at it actually with scratch, because we're not using reference here. So basically I'm just showing you my muscle memory. But that's what the fun of this is. So now where this connects at that point, guys, we're going to add another vertical line on that. Okay, and I know I'm perfectly vertical because I'm parallel, and I'm bringing out that line. Because I need to know where this face is going to touch this face. And we'll see that a little more clearly in a second. So now I'm going to come off of that vertical point I just made. And I'm going to go to this far point once again, because I have to go to another point in 2-point perspective to make a horizontal line. So here I go. And I'm going to go as far as I did last time with this. Okay, yeah, again, another vertical line. I know I'm vertical because I'm going to line it up to that other line there. Just move it in ever so slightly. Give myself another vertical line. Now what's going to happen here, guys, is I'm going to take away now everything I see on this face. So grab your trusty eraser, because I don't want you guys to get confused where the rest of this is going to go. And I feel like if we eliminate some lines here, it'll be clearer. And it'll also be clear about where we're going. Let's check it out, right? Really, we can erase all the line of our horizon, right? That's inside our house. Let's do that, because we don't need that either now. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to point into my point again.
Can you slow down, please? I'm getting in the lines.
Sure, I will be the best speed as I can. I know that Scott, we might be limited on the time that we have to record, so I'd rather you guys have a finished recording of what we're doing. So I will absolutely do my best to keep at a good time. Who actually requested that? What's your name?
To do what?
I think that was Laya.
Oh,
Yes.
Laya. Oh, okay, cool, Laya. Of course. I'll do my best I can. Has it looking a little bit like mine right now?
Yeah, it's looking like yours. The only thing is I haven't gotten the diagonal lines yet. I just need 2 more minutes to do that.
Okay, all right. Scott, do we pass out the recording to our students?
All the recordings, I think, as of up to last week, are on YouTube.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, guys, so good.
And for comic book camp, for the comic book camp, I saw that they had posted videos on the main page for comic book camp, but I don't know about this camp. I mean, the Inktober.
Oh, okay, yeah. So Inktober is going to be exciting. We're gonna follow all the prompts that are put forth to the public about what to draw, and we're going to cover various aspects of drawing in those workshops. I highly encourage it if you're looking to expand your horizons. With myself, I'll be going into a lot of things like texture and shadow. And even just some thoughts and thinkings of what cartooning is, and as a language, because there's a language to it. So yeah, I'm excited to be a part of it this October. So I encourage you to sign up for sure. I'm going to keep moving, guys, so you guys can watch this video later and it'll be worth your time, okay? Scott,
Yeah.
how much time do we have?
We usually go about an hour.
Okay. Okay. If we go an hour and a half, would that be a problem?
It really just depends on their schedule.
Okay, guys.
We usually try to stick to about an hour, but sometimes they go a little bit later.
Okay. All right, great. Well, let's see what we can do here. Our next corner
really
line.
reminds me of like construction working, like building a house, like sketching, like blueprints. Yeah, blueprints.
You got it. This what makes it technical, is using the ruler like we are, right? But even knowing this in our mind's eye of seeing this construction, we can actually, as cartoonists, we can really change the shape of it, but yet get its foundational 3D optics, right? Because this is exactly how our eyes work, and our eyes are seeing what we experience in life, which is really quite amazing. But we can do it on paper too, like we can. So here we go. I made that first horizontal line on the top. This is going to be our garage over here, guys. So we're going to do a one car garage. So I made my top line here, and then I'm going to send this point now down to my following point below, and I'm going to bring that out basically in the same distance as I did there. I'm going to add a vertical line to that now to close it off. also kind of looks like a maze wall, right? If you ever drew a maze or even been in a maze like this, a lot of the walls are kind of shaped like this. But this is also a house. In just a second, it'll be more clear. Now to make our roof, this can be a little tricky, but it's to thinking about this as our slanted roof at the top here. Okay, so I'm gonna put my point anchored on my point over here on my right side, and I'm gonna now bring up my ruler.
Wait, I actually see how this is a house now. If you like just keep everything as one solitary thing, it actually looks like that.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're breaking down the shape of the house. Exactly, or at least this style house. So I brought it out pretty good there, guys. Take a look. Now notice I cut short a little bit to this corner here, and I've also cut short to getting it to this side, and that's on purpose because we're going to shoot a line up to connect it now right from here in this corner because we got to get our triangular roof. And once I have that in place, I can shoot to this corner now, to that point. Now here's an interesting one. It kind of doesn't play to any point. This is kind of an exception. This is basically a crevice, a crease in our rooftop line. And we're going to build it right off of the point that we laid at there and the corner point here. So I'm going to take that up just like so. Now what that gives me is a point on this corner. So if I take my point here and run to this corner, I can now bring that out. And again, I'm going to bring that line out to basically midway of my face of my face of this side of the house. Okay. This could be a barn too, guys. This could be anything you really want. But I guess when we go into the detail in a moment, it'll be more of a house under my direction. But feel free to retrace these steps and change this object into whatever you guys want, okay? So here we go. I'm now going to connect my corner to my point that I laid off, and that was midway again on that face, right? Once that's connected, I'm now going to go to my other corner point here. And voila, now we have our shape going. Now, how about building a garage space here? What would that entail? If I come off my point and I come a little bit lower than my roof line here, and I stay inside that face, I can build the top of my garage door. Now, if I take my ruler and stay perfectly vertical with the lines I already laid, I can now make the doorway of my barn. But what makes this work, guys, is keeping that horizontal line to the point. Now, how about on this face? Do I got to go to this point? Yeah. I'm not going to go to this point unless I'm on this face. So here I go. I'm going to make a door, or front door, and I got to go off of anchored this point onto this face now. And now this is my chance to show the scale, because we all know in our mind's eye how big a doorway usually is, right? Now here I go. I'm going to make a vertical line down. I'm going to give myself some space down here because I'm going to make a little step staircase that's going to fit here. Make my next vertical perfectly vertical with my other line of my doorway. I'm going off my point again on this side to close off my door. Now it's floating, right? Not a problem. What we're going to do is we're going to go to this point here, and now I'm going to place my ruler a little bit similar to where the line where I ended is on my door. But I'm going to be a little bit off and into the house a little bit here. It's going to look like this. The next one I'm going to make is the other side, and I'm going to go a little bit lower than my door. And that's going to look like that. Now I want to work off of this corner, right? Because that's what we've been doing. We've been working off corners to make our lines go to the points. So now I'm going to work off of this closest corner. I'm going to go to my point here. I'm going to send it down. Now I have a surface. I'm starting to see a surface. If I stay on that point and go around the edges of my door and connect that shape even more, now I got something going. Now if I add verticals, this is going to be the one that's going to lay on the side of the house. I'm going to get my corner. And now on this side, this is going to be more defined by the steps I make. So making steps, I got to come off of my point on this side from that corner way. I'm going to bring that out so much. I'm going to go back to this point, to that corner. I'm going to bring that out. Now I need to place a corner on this step, so I'm going to do that vertically. I'm going to go to my point, come to the stepway, and now add a vertical line, right? And they're always vertical, guys. You got to keep these totally parallel to all these beautiful straight lines. That's what's going to make this drawing be more convincible. All right, and that's cartooning. You're convincing the reader what they're looking at as what it is. Going again to my point now, I'm going to make the crevice of my first step. I'm going to add a vertical line that's in the corner now of that. And now you can start to gauge, okay, am I going to fit one step in there? Yeah, I can kind of start to see that. So I'm going to take my ruler in now and go with my mind's eye on how big that step's going to be. So now I can make the staircase effect with verticals and the line of my point on this side. I'm always aiming my ruler at it, guys. Now, take a look though. You can always see it on my placement of my ruler. Now, if you decide to go in more and place your ruler over your point more, just make sure you're staying consistent on your ruler's relationship with your point, because those little effects of their relationship will change the way your drawing is going and looking. Is there an art to that? Of course, but right now we're kind of staying in the by the books technical approach here of drawing a home. My next line, my crevice of my next step, I'm going to this point now, right? Because I'm on this face. If I point now my ruler on the opposite side, I can come in, find my crevice line from my horizontal point on this side, and now I can add another horizontal line for my second step and a vertical line for that second step, and one last line to define the edge of that second step. So those are steps. Now, real quick, let's bring some organic life into this drawing. Let's bring a tree, and we're going to bring the tree right up close to us here. And I want you guys to make a habit out of, actually, when you draw a tree, that you start to draw the actual area on the surface of the ground, and then begin to craft the tree from that circular placement. Now I like to take my tree and grow it out on its sides first. And into my thought, the furthest branches are going to be my first placement. Now what I'm also looking for is beautiful positive and negative space, right? I'm looking for how this tree now has a relationship to the house. So I can literally kind of make this tree manifest itself into a way of even kind of hugging this house. Maybe they grew up together. So see how I brought that branch back down in now? And now I'm going to send up another one. But this other one is actually a part of a thicker branch. Yeah. Oh, I made a fault here, guys. Check it out. So this is one thing I want you guys to look for when you draw. This is called a tangent. This is when your line gets on top of a line when really it's really not clear on which one is actually higher or over top of the other. This is a no-go for drawing, guys. Stay away from tangents. Yeah. So what you're going to do is now decide, if you have a tangent like mine, whether now to bring it over that line or bring it under that line. So I'm going to decide to bring it under my line. So my top of my roof is nice and clean and clear. And once you place your tree in, you can go ahead and erase the house lines. You can also decide if this tree is we're in the fall, right, or in the winter, or maybe we're in the spring or summer. And there's a degree of what would be foliage up here, right? We need all our foliage. So I like to generalize my foliage when I do my comics. So I kind of do it my own way of nestling my leaves. And a lot of drawing is deciding what is in front of something, right? Well, trees have a lot of that kind of organicity. So what I'm doing is I'm keeping a kind of jaggedness, and I'm almost like I'm feeling the contours of what's going to make up my tree. I'm giving it organic shape. None of it really has a distinctful language other than maybe my application. But this is straightforward, right? And now I'm going to let it encompass some of my branches. And I'm going to let it encompass some of the trees too. And now I can take my branches and bring them out. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Tater Tot. So now we're going to take these branches and now we're going to encompass them in the tree. So now I'm actually going to revert my line here and bring it inside of the tree. And where these kind of branches go in, they're going to disappear into that tree. So we got to show that line from where they disappear. Now we got some coverage here, so get your precision eraser out if you have it, or any kind of eraser, and be as precise as you can on taking out those house lines that are inside of your foliage of your tree. Okay, just so we have them, guys, because I know you're going to want to put windows and doors and things on this, so I just want to do a quick lesson of how to align those up real quick. On these two faces, you're going to keep your point onto this side of anchor. Okay, so if you're going to make windows on this side, you can evenly space your horizontal lines, breaking them. Now I'm going to come up a little bit higher, maybe even a little bit almost midway to put my windows in here. I'm making 3. They're going to fit side by side together. You can decide to make that 1, whatever you'd like. But once you have those horizontals in, guys, check it out. I mean, I'm just gonna go in with my vertical. I know it's vertical because I'm looking at this edge. Now I can place my vertical lines. Now going back to this circle here, not to jump too much, but can't help it, I'm having fun. I made that circle to kind of show you guys then what it is to encapsulate the bottom of the tree trunk with grass, because the grass is actually going to fit the form of the tree. So get in a little habit of showing these little tiny, these are basically little examples that of even an observation that you guys can see that will hopefully ignite some of your 3D drawings. So check it out. That's what's making that now look really 3D, right? The branch is coming out. It almost looks like this branch or this part of the trunk is coming out farther than where this tree is. It's like the tree's hugging the house. Now quickly, just making some bushes. Well, if you can keep it in your mind's eye, doing shapes, let's just say there's a hedge, a bush hedge here. I'm going to lightly put in my box shape for my hedge, just to kind of show you guys what I'm seeing in my mind's eye. So if I lead my lines up, like we've been doing, I'm going to send my other point here to make my box to my other point, right? And I come off this corner to make a shelf, kind of. I'm going to connect my shelf on the top vertically. I'm going to bring its corners down vertically. And forgive me for being fast, guys. I still want you to have this as a recording over than me doing this in person, because you can always press pause later, okay? So see how I'm going after this box now, and I'm only going off of these corners to make it.
Where are the YouTube lessons posted, or what do you have to search up to see them?
Yes, I think even Scott just placed them in the chat if you guys want a quick access to them. And then I suggest you you bookmark it, or you follow us on YouTube.
I just copied it into the chat again.
There you go. So guys, if I eliminate those lines that this box is going to cover in the inside of it, this is what now my mind's eye is seeing when I think about now making this into a hedge. So now I'm going to approach this whole shape with basically a texture, right? I'm going to show that now this is just as much a leaf as these are up here. So I'm just going to add these qualities of line that give it more of a leaf effect. It's jagged. It's not too jagged. It's not really technical. It's kind of soft, kind of like snakes, but it's also how you arrange them. If you nestle them at the bottom, towards the bottom down here, with a heavier line, you'll get a nice shadow, basically, out of giving it heavier feel at the bottom. See how that's looking now? And you can decide whether or not you see a bunch of its trunks. It might come up underneath it. We can also consider that there's grass coming up here, and there's grass coming up the house. So we can now change the line of where the house meets the ground, right? By giving it a grass line. Now how about that deep distance? What could be all the way out there? Well, we could decide. It could be something that's even so far out on the horizon that it actually looks like mountains, right? So if I just work off that mountain range, just give it a nice valley in here, and we have a nice background. And I can continue that mountain range, or maybe it's a series of, and I can give that its own feel. Now a little more quickly, I'm going to do a driveway right off of our current garage. I'm going to come from my point here, and I'm going to be at the edge of my garage way, and I'm going to pull it out. And I'm going to do the same on this corner of the garage, and I can pull it out. Now that too, that edge of the driveway could also be in grass. So I'm just going to now make my grass line replace that edge of the driveway. Now, real quick, if I have another tree out here, and basically in this situation out here, I'm going to still approach it with my little cylindrical feel on the ground. But what I'm also going to know is that this tree could be very well the same size as this one, but it's going to perceivably be smaller just because I know it's deep in the distance. So I'm planning to now basically mimic this size, but I'm just considering the scale of which and the distance of which changes. I'm going to add my foliage on my tree and encapsulate it. I'm going to do a quick lesson on shadow real quick with you guys, if I can. This is fun. You can always consider this with your drawings, is grabbing you guys can use anything you want, but if you can find something that fits to the size of what a sun would be, you can place that in your drawing. And what happens is when the sun gets close to the horizon, it casts a long shadow off of the objects, right? Now, if it was higher in the horizon, say what they call high noon, which is noontime in the day, the shadows get really flat and they live below the objects, if the objects allow for that. But since I'm placing my sun here, I can consider that now all of my shadow is going to come out to this direction. Okay, so how would that look? Well, what you're going to have to think about is the direction of which the shadow comes. So you have to build it off of the current existing shapes, of course, but you're also mimicking how the shape now lies on the ground. So I'm picking a direction way out of where the sun is. So now if I come off of my edge of my house, I can consider my rooftop shape, and I can consider the side of my house. But now even I can build off of the shadow that comes into the grass here and my tree. Now on this side it's the same idea, but it's almost going to pinch itself, guys. So I'm bringing it close to us for dynamic purposes too. So once I do that, sorry about that. Once I do that, I can now pull it out like so. And now I can go in, and if you want, you can lightly fill in all of that shadow just to get the nice contrast going. If you're going to keep the drawing in pencil especially. If you're doing it in color, you do a lighter or a darker value rather of the grass, let's say, or any other color that the shadow is lying on. All right, guys. Just real quick, this face, we can make a window on that face through this point as well. So like I did on that one, it's this face now. You guys starting to notice that you're kind of following all the lines you've already pre-existed out of the layout of the basic shapes of the house. So it's almost like the answers are already there. Just point it to the right point, and you'll see how the right point is because of what's next to it.
I'd like to show mine.
Oh, please, let's do it. Oh, great, Nathaniel. Wow. Very sharp.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
I had a little trouble making the tree because I thought it was a little too big and was getting in the way of the house.
Yeah, it's your call on how big that is and how much it takes over the lawn, right? It's kind of part of the fun is to see, the age of the yard. Maybe the yard's older than the home. I'm sure you all have seen where the home is older than the yard, and you don't really see big trees in it, right? But this has been a pleasure, guys. I hope this kind of gets you guys going on drawing perspective like this. And I feel like, and I have a hunch, that you're going to have to draw a haunted house in the future if you take the October Inktober with the Chuck Jones Center, because it's going to be useful to bring this back into play when we go
Yeah,
into
that would be a really good and smart idea to do.
Yeah, take
Good idea
note.
to bring it back.
Yeah, because you can totally make this into a haunted house, right?
Yeah, if you just made it a little more bigger and just did the length of the scale of the house.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely.
Because haunted houses are pretty tall, taller than regular houses.
Yeah, they tend to be wanting to be looming in size, right? That way you have to look up at it, right? It's something that is almost scary into its size, right? 'Cause
Yeah,
that's a part of fear.
Yeah, take Hotel Transylvania, for instance. It's like super tall. I've seen the movie like probably 3 times. I have seen it 3 times.
Oh wow. No, I encourage you to absolutely be engaged with all cartoons, guys, because a lot of the times they use the same materials that you and I do, and they're just thinking about things a little differently. And once you discover those things, boy, you'll be on new horizons.
I'd also
Tater
like
Tot
to
would like to
show-
share.
Oh, Tater Tot would like to share?
Yeah.
What do you have, Tater Tot? Let's see. Oh my gosh, Tater Tot, you took this to a whole nother realm.
Thank you.
Love it. I
Thank you,
love
and thank
it.
you for having this class.
Oh, absolutely my pleasure. I'm so happy it engaged you like that. That looks so good. Hey, Leia, can I see yours? I'm seeing you draw it from here, and I just want to.
Okay.
That's great. Could you turn it around for me?
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm seeing it upside down. There you go. Great. Great. Yeah, now it's up to you.
It was kind of at first I couldn't really get it because like I was slowing down. I'm not that good at drawing proportions and shapes, so I had to do the rest by myself.
Well, I think you did a great job. Just keep your observation of the vertical lines and making sure those are absolutely vertical to the rest of those lines, right? They're so straight. You got to keep them all very uniform in its straightness, right? Because what is informing the viewer is what's going to the points, guys. It's all the other lines that are making up these drawings and making our eyes perceive them as 3D. Rosebrick, sure. and Eve, I'll definitely answer that question. Great rose brick, yeah.
Thank you.
Looks really good. You're added some really cool detail too. And is that an air conditioner unit you put on the side of your house?
Yes. Yes, it
Oh
is.
my gosh, you're so wow. See, that's analytical. That's really good. Really good. Oh,
you.
take that to the next place for sure. Keep going with it.
I would like to show something that I made from last night.
Okay, please.
This
Oh my
puppets.
gosh.
Yeah, I tend to make puppets.
Oh my gosh, you are talented. That's amazing, Nathaniel.
It's from a video game, Crash Bandicoot. This is Big Crash from Crash Warped.
Wow, he is fantastic. Really, really good for you. That's so awesome, Nathaniel.
Yeah, thank you. I'm gonna change the nose because I want it to be a little three-dimensional because I couldn't find any three-dimensional balls, so I just had to use some flat foam for the
Oh,
nose.
you did a wonderful job. You did a wonderful job. Love his teeth, and he's got such character. Hey, so Eve asked me what pencil I'm using. This is a 1960s Loctite. This was manufactured for basically industrial graphic designers. They use a very thick lead. I'm trying to pull it out right now. There it is. Uses a very thick lead, and it allows for me to simplify my shapes. Do these go for a lot? You can find them on eBay anywhere between maybe $10 and $25. But they have some weight to it, which is really nice. So if you like a heavy object to draw with, I really like it because it kind of keeps my hand lazy and I can do quick shapes fast. So this is my layout pencil, I call. So once you guys start developing into your tool sets, you'll start to make new discoveries on how do you want your hand to feel drawing, right? That's a kind of part of the comfortable approach to something you end up doing hours on end, right? So it's got its uniqueness. So it's really fun. It's really fun. I hope you guys had a great time today, and I hope you can take this further and in the future, and that you decide to take the Inktober classes with us because we're going to have a blast. And yeah, that's pretty much as far as I can take it today with you guys. So yeah, please take this further on your own. Take a look and search 2D or even what would be 2-point perspective online, and you can see other examples how people use this same approach. Yeah, happy building.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Scott. This was really fun.
Thank you again.
Oh, my pleasure. It's great to meet you guys, and I hope to get to know
Thank
you
you so
more.
much.
Hope I get to know you more if you take our more of our workshops, okay?
All right. Well, bye, everybody. Bye, Mike.
Bye.
Bye, Scott.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.
Yeah, bye. Thank you. Bye, Laura. Bye, Scott.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
Peter Todd, Nathaniel, Leia, Rose
Playa.
Brick, Laya.